You want to get straight to the point, right? Understand the important stuff without wading through everything.
Yeah, who has the time?
Exactly. So that's what we're doing today. We are diving deep into the very beginnings of a major spiritual tradition. We're looking at the first 20 hymns of the Rig Veda.
And our source material is just that the translated hymns themselves, nothing else.
Think of this as your personal shortcut to understanding these foundational ideas.
hmm Our mission really is to unpack these early verses for you. We'll be looking at, which gods and goddesses pop up.
Who are they talking to?
Exactly. And how were they worshipped? What were the rituals like? And maybe the most interesting part, what did these people actually want?
What were they praying for?
Precisely. We're looking for the core beliefs, the desires, the patterns hidden in these really ancient prayers.
Okay, so let's jump right in with Agni. He shows up right off the bat, hymns of thirst trill, 1319. Lots of attention on him.
Definitely. And what hits you immediately is how central he is.
He's called the chosen priest, god, minister of sacrifice, the Hotar. I mean, that's quite a job description, isn't it?
It really is. And that role of Hotar, that's the key, I think. He's the main invoker, the one doing the ritual, saying the prayers.
So not just a god, but the link.
Exactly. He's the conduit between, humans and the gods. One hymn says something like, "The perfect sacrifice which thou encompassest about day verily goeth to the gods."
Ah, so it's through Agni that the message gets delivered.
That's the idea. It shows how crucial ritual was and this belief in a direct line facilitated by Agni.
And it's pretty clear what they're sending up that line, isn't it? Wealth. It comes up again and again.
Absolutely. You see these constant requests for wealth. If you think about the context, these were probably, farming communities.
So harvests, livestock.
Right. Material well-being was survival. So asking for wealth, yea, plenty waxing day by day, most rich in heroes, glorious. It tells you a lot about their day-to-day worries and priorities.
It wasn't just abstract stuff. It was about tangible things.
Very much so. Real prosperity.
Agni also seems to have different sides to him. He's the dispeller of the night. Okay, fire makes sense. But also ruler of sacrifices, guard of law, eternal. That's a big leap.
That duality is fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's the physical fire, obviously, but also this cosmic principle that law eternal hints at this early idea of a divine order.
Rita, is that related?
It certainly seems connected, yes. Agni is seen as helping maintain that order. And as you look at the later Agni hymns, you see more facets. Master of all wealth, oblation bearer, the purifier.
Purifying what, though? The offering, the space.
Maybe both. It's not always explicit. And then he's linked with the Maruts later, these dynamic storm gods, so he's, complex.
Okay, moving on. Hymn Sikkim Bayou. This one feels a bit different. Lots about preparing Soma, his penetrating stream. It's quite sensory.
It really is. You get this picture of the Soma drops being ready, the singers actively glorify the Vayu. It feels participatory.
Yeah, it's not passive worship.
Not at all. Material offerings, yes, but also the hymns, the praise. And interestingly, later in that same hymn, you get Indra and Vayu invoked together.
Ah, so maybe a team up or shared importance for the Soma.
Could be either or both. That suggests an early link between them.
Then we get the Asvins. Hymns the third and XV. They sound quite positive. Rich in treasure, lords of splendor, having nimble hands, rich in wondrous deeds, like helpful figures.
Very much so. Dynamic, benevolent. They're called Nisakyas, which means something like reliable or truthful, and wonder workers.
Wonder workers, I like
And
them
we get
better.
these little details like offering libations with clipped grass. Small things, but they hint at the actual practice.
And later they're invoked with Rutu. What's that about?
Rutu. That likely points to their role being tied into a specific time or order, maybe a season, maybe a part of the ritual cycle. It suggests things needed to be done at the right time.
Right, alignment with some kind of cosmic schedule.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, now, Indra. We can't avoid Indra, can we? He's everywhere in these first 20 hymns, 4 through S&8 mostly. Clearly a big deal.
Oh, absolutely. Indra's prominence is just undeniable. The sheer number of hymns tells you he was incredibly important.
And the way they describe him, he sounds like a superhero.
He really does. Doer of fair deeds, Soma drinker, that comes up a lot. Virtra slayer.
That's the big one, right? Killing the serpent.
That's his most famous feat, yes. Virtra often represents chaos or obstruction, so Indra is the one who overcomes that. He's also thunder-armed, lord of power and might, crusher of forts.
Feels like someone you want on your side.
Definitely. He's portrayed as actively intervening, fighting battles, protecting people.
And the requests they make to him are very, direct. seeking his assistance day by day, giving him soma, asking for wealth, strength, victory, especially in phrase, battles, basically.
Yeah, conflict, struggles, very practical religion. They're not just praising him abstractly. They want tangible help.
And the soma seems key to that, like it powers him up.
That seems to be the idea. Offering soma nourishes him, strengthens him, maybe enables these heroic acts. There's this reciprocal relationship.
There's also some really striking imagery with Indra, his pair of tawny horses making light where no light was, bursting the mountain for the kine. That last one is famous.
It is. These powerful images drive home his immense power, his role as a liberator. Bursting the mountain for the kine, maybe releasing trapped waters or wealth or life itself. Overcoming obstacles.
Very symbolic.
Very. And notice the emphasis on praise, too. The idea that chants and laud strengthen him. Words have power.
So the hymns themselves are part of the offering, part of strengthening the god.
Exactly. It underscores how important the spoken word, the mantra, was.
We also see Indra invoked sometimes with Varuna. What's the significance there?
Invoking them together probably acknowledges their complementary strengths. Varuna is often linked to cosmic order, justice, that law eternal or Rita we mentioned.
So Indra for action, Varuna for order.
Kind of, yeah. You're seeking both decisive power and the maintenance of cosmic balance.
Right.
A well-rounded request for help and stability.
Okay. Then, in hymn the third, we get the Visvadevas, the all-gods, and Sarasvati. The Visvadevas protect, reward, and cherish men. Sounds good.
Fairly straightforward, yes.
Yeah.
Benevolent protectors.
But then there's that weird line. They change shape like serpents, fearless, void of guile. That's unexpected.
It is quite intriguing, isn't it, that serpent imagery? Maybe it suggests adaptability or something deeper, more primal about their nature. Hard to say for sure.
But fearless, void of guile sounds reassuring. Trustworthy.
Absolutely. It emphasizes their positive role. And then you have Sarasvati in the same hymn.
Right, associated with pleasant songs, gracious thought, eliminating every pious thought. She sounds like a muse.
Exactly. An early connection between divinity and wisdom, eloquence, inspiration, maybe even the inspiration for the hymns themselves.
Makes sense. Okay, who's next? Brahmanaspati, hymn 8. Here the focus seems quite specific, making the Somapressor glorious, protection from curses, attacks.
Brahmanaspati often seems linked to the power of prayer itself, the sacred word, the effectiveness of the ritual.
So kind of meta, the god of making the prayers work.
Sort of, yeah. Lord of prayer, essentially. Wanting the Somapressor to be glorious shows how important the human ritual specialists were, and asking for protection from curses and enemies. Well, that reflects the anxieties of the time, doesn't it?
Very real fears.
Definitely. And they believed the gods, like Brahmanaspati, often alongside Indra and Soma, could provide that security.
We mentioned Mitra and Varuna earlier with Indra, but hymns the second and seventh too focus more on them. Holy strength, foe destroying, but also that connection to law, eternal, Rita.
Yes, Mitra and Varuna together really embody cosmic and moral authority. Their power comes through law, through upholding that divine order.
So they represent stability, justice.
That seems to be their core domain. Invoking them, often with Indra, is like asking for both righteous order and powerful intervention.
Got it. And finally, Rutu, mentioned in hymn XV again, invoking guys with Rutu. We touched on this, the importance of timing.
Exactly. Including Ritu likely means performing the sacrifice at the right time, the proper season, according to the cosmic rhythm. It connects the human ritual to the larger cycles of the universe.
Okay, wow. That's a lot packed into just 20 hymns. So if we pull back, what are the big recurring themes, the main takeaways here?
Well, several things really stand out. First, the absolute centrality of sacrifice yajna and offerings, especially Soma. That's the main way they interact with the god.
It's transactional, in a way.
You could say that. Second, what they're asking for is pretty consistent. Wealth, strength, protection, divine favor. Very practical.
Bailey lifestyle.
Exactly. Third, the power of the hymns themselves. Praise isn't just flattery. It's seen as strengthening the gods, making the ritual work.
The words matter.
Immensely. Fourth, you see the personification of nature, fire, wind, dawn, and also abstract concepts like prayer or order, turning them into deities.
It's giving them a form they can talk to.
Right. And fifth, there's this constant sense that the gods are powerful, active beings who can and do intervene in human life. And finally, the language itself. Vivid images, specific titles or epithets for each god helped define them, and probably aided memory for recitation.
So thinking about all this, for you, the listener, what does this very early picture of humans relating to the divine tell us? these ancient prayers for well-being, strength, order, protection. Does any of that feel familiar?
Yeah, how much of that basic human need for security, for meaning, for a connection with something bigger still resonates today?
It's a fundamental question, isn't it? What endures in that relationship between humanity and the idea of the sacred or the divine?
That act of offering, whether it's, soma back then or maybe just heartfelt attention or praise now, it seems like a pretty universal impulse, this desire to connect with the transcendent.
Definitely something to think about. If you want to explore more, well, you could spend a lifetime on just one of these deities, or the whole Soma question, or the historical context.
Oh, easily. The vast world.
But for now, we hope this deep dive into these first 20 hymns has given you some real insight. Thanks for joining us.